One of my favorite and perhaps most illustrative metaphorical stories goes like this, and I'm sure I've told you this one before. You have a husband and wife, and they're walking down the beach in the sand after there's been a relatively major storm, and the heavy surf has tossed hundreds, if not thousands, of starfish up onto the sand, and the tide is now receding, and it is certain that the starfish will not survive. And they're walking down the beach, but they have someplace to go, and the wife is feeling somewhat rushed. But the husband keeps going over and picking up starfish that he comes across as they're stranded, and he keeps throwing them back into the water, and she's becoming impatient with him. Finally, she says, "What is it that you're trying to do? It doesn't matter. There's hundreds, if not thousands of those. There's no point in what you're trying to achieve. It makes no difference whatsoever." Well, he goes over and he picks up another starfish and he brings it back to her and he holds it up in front of her and he says, "Look, this is going to matter a great deal to this starfish." And he throws it back into the ocean. Now, this becomes a good example of the kinds of attitudes that arise in individuals who are I-it oriented as opposed to I-thou oriented. For the individual who is I-it oriented, most of reality is forced to be within the realm of abstraction. For the I-thou individual, it is necessary, at least at times, to move out of the realm of abstraction to the immediate, the personal, the tangible, and the real. And of course, it's necessary that an individual is fluent and adept at both being able to accurately formulate thought models and abstractions, as well as interface with tactile reality in the moment. But certain environments that we live in or choose to live in can sculpt our ability or enhance our ability to do either of those, practically to the exclusion of other or the other. And it's worth reflecting on just how that might happen. In fact, it's really worth considering that from a point of view of, say, evolutionary theory, in spite of the fact that in many cultures we have a mythology about the role of intellect and abstraction, from probably the most rigorous scientific view, the purpose of intelligence as it exists in human beings isn't for the purpose of acquisition of knowledge, nor is it for the purpose of interfacing with reality. No, intellect evolved in human beings as an energy-saving mechanism solely. The intellect allowed you to build a hunting organism that had less brawn because it was a tool user. It didn't have to run quite as fast because it would run more strategically. And in fact, the law of least effort is a maxim that is applied to human behavior across many, many, many fields. When you see people abstract, very typically they're not seeking a relationship with an intelligible universe. What they are doing is seeking for a solution to a problem or a need, and the trajectory that they seek in that is that expends or requires the least amount of energy. And this can be tested empirically over and over and over again. If you need a solution to a problem, you will gravitate towards the source that is most expedient to you, as well as that provides the answer that requires the least of you. Unless one has specifically sculpted and enhanced and made important a need to seek intelligibility rather than mere solutions, Um, the point of our abstracting and thinking is precisely to make engagement with the real um, as little necessary as possible. Now, of course, I have no quibble, and I wouldn't want to get into the argument of whether a surfer or a theoretical physicist, um, whether either of those two individuals would be better at understanding wave functions than the other in a real sense. Um, I would simply say that a theoretical physicist that was also a surfer would probably be absolutely the best equipped. So it's not an either or prospect. It's just to be aware of the fact that if one is seeking a authentic relationship with reality and the thou-ness of reality, it's really important to be aware that the default instinctive drive behind thinking and abstraction um, isn't necessarily tooled for that purpose. I think it can be honed in that direction, but it's just as easy to hone our instinctive, intuitive tendency to want to live inside our own heads, um, really as a way of validating uh, least expenditure of energy, least actionability, and the rest. Now, I understand that there are plenty of kind of prickly, furry people out there who live entirely within their own heads and operate with incredible and prodigious command of all sorts of abstractions. And I know that those people think they're realists, and they are in their own tautological artificial universe, I guess. But that is not the real that I'm interested in, nor the real that is necessary to come to communion and relation with if one wants to be this um, co-participant in the life process. I mean, the life process is the domain of the real. Again, abstraction and an adaptability to manipulate abstractions can help us there. But like the fellow that picks up the starfish, um, the application of that will always be in the immediate and the tactile, in the now. So it's best for us to be aware of and to do our best to enhance both.